come from? Who made us? These sorts of questions are so ponderous. Why does gravity exist? Why is it that no matter what I do, I'm stuck on Earth? I don't just float randomly into space and get burned alive by the sun. Where does it all come from? Why are we here? Are we here just to suffer, turn old, become weaker, and to die? What's the purpose of life? Why are we here? What's this world about? I really just don't understand the nitty-gritty. And I just don't understand what we're here for if we're just going to turn old and suffer and die. Is there a purpose, a reason for us being here, or are we just here to suffer and die? What's the extent of our place here in this reality and existence? Are we just here to suffer, to die? Or are we here for something more? And I honestly just don't really understand the full weight of this. Why are we here? Is it just for the sake of suffering? Just for the sake of dying? Death and aging and deterioration. Look at this, bro. It's got my full suit and tie ensemble on today. And this is going to be an episode of Reality is a Paradox. And in this episode of Reality is a Paradox, I'm going to be now diving in, bros. Why do the laws of physics exist? Because when I was a bit younger, I was always baffled by the existence of this world that we're in, by the laws of physics, by reality. And if you look at the laws of physics, one of the things that a lot of us should be asking ourselves, but a lot of us don't, is that, bro, why is it that we don't just fly off to the moon? Why is it that everything stays stuck as it is on planet Earth? Why is it that everything is as it seems? Like everything's like just staying on the Earth in a very, like, everything's so like consistent, everything's so well structured. The sun, everything's just the right distance, in the right place. Everything just seems to be functioning so properly. Everything's like a mechanical clock. Everything's how it should be. Like, the Earth rotates around the sun. The Earth doesn't fly into the sun. Gravity is real and we're staying stuck on the ground of the Earth. We're not floating off into space. Why do the laws of physics exist? And reality is a paradox. When I was like in my younger teens and I was kind of going into this like phase of like atheism, I always struggled regarding like this sort of question, like, yeah, God doesn't exist, all right, so how do you explain the genesis of like the Earth and our planet and our history and the universe's creation? Where did everything come from? And if you are an I don't know, bro, Richard Dawkins and, his books about the origins of species, God delusion. God doesn't exist, bruh. The universe just came into reality. Everything came into being for no legitimate logical reason. Something came from nothing. Henceforth, we're here in this world, but we don't understand our purpose or plan for being here. Everything about this reality is just atrocious. It's all just atrocious. It's all just accidents upon accidents, and we're here, but we don't understand the weight of being here. We don't understand the full extent. It's all just a coincidence. What's our purpose here? Are we just here to suffer, to turn old and then to die? What is the point of being alive if we're just gonna turn old and die? Why does gravity exist? Why is we here? What's this all about? It's a conundrum. Isn't it a conundrum? Atheist is like kind of like a hard to answer question. Where does it all come from? Like, where did we come from as human beings? Where did the universe, everything in this reality come from? And if you keep like pondering on this question, it's gonna like kind of shock you, and you're gonna be really, I do think so that the more you ponder actually on these questions, the more you'll likely kind of find some truth in the existence of a creator. It might not necessarily be the Abrahamic God, but you will be convinced that there has to be something more to this reality that we're in. It can't just be like, atheism, Darwinism, that we're just like random like accidents. The universe just came from like an accident, like the Big Bang was an accident. Darwinism, we just came out of like ocean sewage. We became evolved and developed as we are, just randomly and by accidents, and no God making anything happen. Why do the laws of physics exist? Because this is like an important question to be thinking about. The laws of physics, why do they exist? If you look at our universe, our world, everything is seemingly going to plan. Does that make sense? You go outside, you're not going to float off into space and suffocate to death. Everything is like structured. Everything follows laws and orders. And why do the laws of physics exist? if you're an atheist, because there's so many ways to see this question. Like, it depends on like what religious belief systems that you're holding. You perhaps might be an atheist. You perhaps might be someone that believes in God. Why do the laws of physics exist? I actually want to kind of focus on this question from like, the perspective of like atheism, that God does not exist. There is no creative force in this reality that we're in. Okay, so why do the laws of physics exist? Because if you actually think about it, if there was no God, let's just say, hypothetically assume that atheism is the correct. We're going to turn old, we're going to disappear. What is the purpose of it all if we're just going to turn old and disappear? And why does gravity exist? And did the universe just come from the Big Bang, a random explosion at the beginning of time? Henceforth, all of our reality emerged into this world that we have now. Henceforth, we're here in this reality, in this world, and we're alive, we're breathing, we're functioning as human beings. And is it all for naught? Is it for something or is it for nothing? And what are we here for? And is it just for nothing or is it for something? And I really can't even begin to ponder over this. Are we here for something or are we here for nothing? And what is the purpose of this reality that we're in? Are we just here to suffer, to turn old, to die? Are we here for a higher, grandiose purpose and design? What is the full weight of us being here in this reality and world? Are we here just to become weaker and slowly degrade in age? Or are we here for a higher purpose? What is the point of us being here? Worldview that God simply just does not exist. Our universe wasn't created. It all emerged out of like accidents and chaos, and God is not in the picture. All right, fair enough. Where do the laws of physics come from? Why does gravity exist? All these sorts of questions. And if you are an atheist, and I'm not here to like criticize anyone's beliefs, I think everyone should believe in whatever they deem to be true. Like, you might be an atheist because you just cannot rationalize the existence of God, and I'm not here to critique you on that. I think everyone should be entitled to their own belief systems. Like, and if you're an atheist and you can't find any sort of like, you can't rationalize the existence of God, I don't think anyone should come in and like force you to believe in God if you can't rationalize it by yourself. I think so that everyone's entitled to like understand the truth in their own way, because that's the only thing that really matters at the end of the day, is like, what is the truth? Some people just cannot see the truth in religion and God, and so they become atheists because they just can't find enough evidence to support any sort of existence of a deity or creator in the skies. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. We're all entitled to our own beliefs. I don't want to keep dwelling on this. But again, why do the laws of physics exist? Looking at this from like the perspective of like atheism, let's just say I'm like Richard Dawkins or Christopher Hitchens. I'm like looking at this question, bro, where do the laws of physics come from? And if you ponder on it, it all seems kind of like weird that gravity is real, laws of physics are real, thermodynamics is real. There's like, our universe is so like is so structured, it's so consistent with itself. Like, it's not like one day you wake up and you're like floating, gravity stops working and you're like floating off into space. Isn't that kind of bizarre? Like, everything is like so consistently structured, everything is coherent. And I always struggled with this, like, if God does not exist, I just don't know. Why are we here? Are we just here to suffer, to turn old, to die, to become worm food? Are we here for a bigger purpose? Are we here for no purpose whatsoever? And old bros, I'm turning into an old geezer. I just don't understand why we're alive if we're just going to become old worm food. We're just going to go 6 foot underground and turn die. And is there a bigger reason for us being here? Are we just here to turn old and die? Why does gravity exist? Why do the laws of physics exist? Why are we here in this world for no apparent reason? Is there a greater reason, or is there no reason whatsoever? This reality and world is so mysterious. And it's just, I don't understand why we're here. We're just going to become old and turn into worm food and die. And it's all just a mystery on top of a mystery. And I just don't understand why we're here if we're just going to turn old and die. And it's a mystery. I just don't. Where did all of this like structure and order come from? And if you're an atheist, and I'm not here to debunk anyone's worldview, everyone's entitled to their own beliefs, but if you are an atheist, this seems kind of very suspect, doesn't it? That the universe, our world, it's all structured the way it is. Everything works the way it does. Everything's mechanical. Everything's like on point, but seemingly all of this like structure, coherency, it came from nowhere. That always was kind of like a bit came from nowhere by no one. It's like, imagine a clock, like the clockwork argument. I think I actually remember when I was in RE class, the teacher actually talked a lot about that. Like think about like a clockwork, a clock moving around. Imagine a clock, a mechanical clock. It wouldn't be here if someone didn't design it. You know what I mean? There had to be a clockmaker for the clock to exist. Likewise, this universe, there's so much laws, order, structure to this universe, but God not existing, if you're an atheist, do you think that we all just come from ocean sewage? We come from like a godless universe that came into existence without any divine authority for no reason? That's always been like suspect to me. But anyway, why do the laws of physics exist? I'm kind of like mumbling with my words. I always need to like stay on topic. I want to look at this question from like the perspective of atheism, assuming there's no God above the skies, no God behind the genesis of our planet, behind the creation of this world and universe. Why do the laws of physics exist? This question, if you think about it, in a godless universe, in a godless world, it just doesn't make any sense that gravity is real, that the universe, everything just works in such a way that, bro, like imagine one day you wake up, gravity stops, like you float off into space. One day you wake up, or you're in like on the sun. Oh wait, but the laws of physics don't exist, so you're not dying from like being burnt. Bros, and is life just an accident, or is it a miracle? And why are we here if something came from nothing? And why do the laws of physics exist? And these sorts of big questions. I just don't understand the nitty gritty of it. And I just don't understand, and I just don't know. And I'm just so lost for words, distraught. And what's the point of us being here if we're just gonna turn old and die? What's the point? What's the point? Is there a point whatsoever? Why do the laws of physics exist? If God doesn't exist, do we all just emerge from nothingness and chaos and accidents? And I just don't understand the weight of everything that I'm saying. And what's the point if there is no point to begin with? And are we here for no reason, or for what reason? And why does the universe exist if no God exists and if nothing created it? And isn't that like a square turning into a circle type of paradox and conundrum? There's so many paradoxes related to this world that we're living in. I just can't fully understand it all. And it's all just a mystery. Think about it, there's like so much structure, order, coherency to this world. I do think that would suggest a creator, at least something that had to put things in place. It might not be the Abrahamic God. Again, a lot of you might be very stubborn. A lot of you might be like on the fence about the existence of like certainly the Abrahamic God. A lot of you might be like atheistic people, skeptics, but still, why do the laws of physics exist? And if you think about this question, it will like activate a light bulb in your head, because bro, the laws of physics, everything in this world is like, it's like a clock, bro. Everything seems to be operating in such a way that it's very suspect that there would have not been any sort of divinity behind this, like no divine father, creator God, no like architect, so to speak, of the universe. It would be very suspect if that would be the case, that just like a clock, imagine a mechanical clock, it operates the way it does because, the clock maker made it that way. A designer put all the parts together for the clock to operate. It would be very suspect, right? If you found a clock, but it wasn't made by anyone, it just appeared to be like that way. Likewise, life, the complexity of our DNA, the complexity of this world, the universe, the laws of physics, thermodynamics, it all being just merely like a product of like chance and accidents and randomness in a godless world and universe without no divine authority. That doesn't add up to me, which is why I always had this like kind of difficulty believing in atheism, like bro, because everything just happened by chance. This world, even look at your body, the eye, all of like the complexity of our anatomy, our genetics, our DNA, this world, this reality, the laws of physics, gravity, thermodynamics, it all happened by chance. And I always struggle to like kind of find any sort of like truthfulness in that everything has just happened by chance, coincidence. Hence why I always tended to like have like some sort of faith in a higher power, because it doesn't make any sense that everything happened by chance and for no reason, because everything emerged from just pure chaos, randomness, accidents. And why do the laws of physics exist? If you're an atheist, it would appear to be preponderous, like this sort of like reality of like gravity, the laws of physics, like the earth, everything seems, all the parts are put together in such a way that life is able to flourish, all of that, but it all being like by chance and accidents and randomness. I never found any truth in that. That's why I stopped being an atheist quite a while ago, because why do the laws of physics exist, bro? If you're an atheist, if you're dead serious, if you don't believe in any God above the skies, bro, so you believe everything just came about like chance and accidents, that doesn't make sense. Why does gravity exist, bro? Suffering, I just don't understand the weight of us being here in this reality. Are we here for what purpose and for what reason? Or is there no reason whatsoever? Are we just going to turn old and go into the grave and become worm food? And what reason do we have for being here if we're not here for a reason to begin with? And if God didn't make us, are we just accidents and we just come from blind chance and random collisions of atoms occurring at the beginning of time? And what is the point of us being here if there's no point at the beginning of the universe from whence we came? Why are we here if we're not here for any reason whatsoever? Are we here for a reason, or for no reason? I just don't understand. Are we here for a reason or for no reason whatsoever? I just don't understand. If there's no reason for us being here, why are we here?